I died with my daughter's voice in my ear. Her casual love you, Mom, from the other end of the line, the last lie I'd ever swallow. My husband's hands clamped around my throat like a vice. His whisper, "It's for the family." Lydia, drowning out my gasps as the heirloom necklace he'd just borrowed dangled from his pocket, mocking me from beyond the grave. But when my vision tunneled to black, time didn't stop, it rewound, slamming me back into my body 6 months earlier. Heart pounding at the breakfast table in our Upper East Side brownstone. Sarah's innocent smile across from me, like a knife I hadn't yet felt. I blinked, the steam from my coffee mug curling up like smoke from a fresh wound. It was July 15th, the same humid morning I'd marked in my planner as family meeting, estate planning. Back then, I'd thought it was about securing our future. The brownstone we'd bought after my tech startup went public. The trust funds for Sarah's Ivy League dreams. The necklace that had been in my family since the Mayflower days, a delicate silver chain with a sapphire pendant worth more than most people's homes. Now, I knew better. That meeting was the first thread unraveled. The moment my husband, Mark, started weaving the noose. "Mom, pass the croissants," Sarah asked, her voice all honey and teenage nonchalance. She was 16, all long legs and designer jeans. The spitting image of me at that age, dark curls, sharp green eyes that could charm a room or cut through bullshit. In my first life, those eyes had looked at me with pity as paramedics wheeled me out in a body bag. Now, they sparkled with a kind of innocence that made my stomach twist. "Sure, sweetie," I said, sliding the plate over, my hand steady even as my mind raced. I remembered this exact exchange, the way Mark had cleared his throat, his lawyers tied too tight around his neck, and pitched the adjustment to our wills. "Just a precaution. Alrighty," he'd said, his hand on my knee under the table, warm and reassuring. Precaution my ass. It was the gateway drug to forging my signature on offshore accounts, siphoning funds for his gambling debts. And finally, that fateful night when he'd staged my suicide to cash in on the $2 million life insurance policy. I took a sip of coffee, scalding hot, grounding me. This was real. I was here. 42 years old. CEO of Lydia Tech, the app that revolutionized remote work for millions. Successful. Adored. Blind. The betrayal hadn't been quick, it had been a slow poison. Mark, the charming litigator I'd met in law school, had always been ambitious. But ambition turned to desperation when his bookie started calling. Sarah, our golden girl, got pulled in during her rebellious phase, shoplifting sprees, fake IDs for club nights. Mark had spun it as family loyalty, convincing her to help borrow from my accounts. By the end, she'd been the one to sell the necklace at a black market auction in Brooklyn, netting $50,000 for that dream trip to Ibiza she'd always wanted. I sold Mom's necklace. So what? She'd shrugged to her friends later, posting selfies from the beach with YWLO, while my urn sat on the mantel back home. God, the rage boiled up, hot and unfamiliar. In my past life, I'd been too trusting, too eager to keep the peace. Now, I was a ghost with a second chance, and revenge tasted like the bitter dregs in my cup. "Everything okay? Mom, you look intense," Sarah said, tilting her head. I forced a smile, the kind that had closed million-dollar deals. "Just thinking about that meeting today. Big changes ahead." Mark breezed in from the hallway, his Brooks Brothers shirt crisp, cologne wafting like a warning. "Morning," Ladies. Ready to make history? He kissed my cheek, lingering a second too long, and I fought the urge to recoil. In this moment, he was still the man I loved, or thought I did. Charming, attentive, the father who coached Sarah's debate team. But I knew the monster underneath, the text to his mistress, the encrypted apps tracking my every move, the way he'd practiced his alibi in the mirror that last night. Absolutely, I replied, my voice light. Let's rewrite the stars. The meeting dragged on in our sun-drenched living room. The lawyer, some sleazy associate of Mark's named Harlan, droning about trusts and beneficiaries. I played my part, nodding, asking pointed questions about liquidity, all while my mind catalogued the exits. Harlan's firm was downtown. I'd need to hack their servers later. Mark suggested upping Sarah's inheritance share. She's our future, after all, and I agreed, watching his eyes flicker with greed. In the old timeline, that was the hook. They'd used my generosity to justify draining the accounts, claiming I'd approved it all. By noon, papers signed, Harlan gone, I excused myself to my home office. The brownstone was a fortress of glass and steel, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. But today it felt like a cage. I locked the door, booted up my laptop, the same one they'd wiped clean after my death, and dove in. As CEO, I had backdoor access to everything: financials, emails, even a nanny cams Mark thought he'd disabled. First stop, Mark's browser history. There it was, buried under proxies, searches for untraceable wire transfers and how to stage a hanging. My fingers trembled as I screenshotted it all, encrypting the files to a hidden cloud drive only I knew about. Next, Sarah's phone, synced to the family plan. Late-night text to her bestie about Dad's plan and the necklace will cover the trip. Duh. Emojis of palm trees and cocktails. Mom won't miss it. She's always working. I leaned back, pulse thundering. The secret they'd buried deepest wasn't the money or the murder. It was the why. Mark's debts weren't just gambling. He'd embezzled from a client, a Wall Street whale who'd sue us into oblivion if it came out. Killing me was the clean slate, insurance payout to cover the shortfall, necklace sold to fund their escape. Sarah knew enough to be complicit. So what? Shrugged the cherry on top. But I wasn't crumbling this time. No. I'd build a case brick by brick, make them dance to my tune until the trap snapped shut. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd flirt with the dark side, anonymous tips to the DA, maybe a little corporate sabotage to tank Mark's career. They'd beg for mercy before I was done. That afternoon, I called my assistant, Jenna, under the guise of a work crisis. Dig into Harlan's firm. Anything off books. Jenna was loyal, a pit bull in Louboutins. She'd never let me down. While I waited, I wandered to the safe in the bedroom, fingers tracing the necklace inside. Cool silver against my skin. A talisman now. I clasped it on, the sapphire nestling in my collarbone like a bruise waiting to bloom. Dinner was a masterclass in restraint. Sarah chattered about her crush at summer camp. Mark poured wine with that easy grin. To us, he toasted, clinking glasses. I smiled back, but inside, I was sharpening blades. To new beginnings, I said. Night fell, the city humming below. In bed, Mark's arm draped over me, his snores steady. I slipped out, padded to the guest room, and started drafting emails and signed, routed through VPNs. First to the Wall Street whale, your lawyer's husband is cooking the books. Check the ledgers. Then to Sarah's school counselor. Concerns about behavioral issues, possible substance abuse. Seeds of doubt. Watered with truth. By dawn, exhaustion tugged at me, but sleep was a luxury for the dead. I'd avenged smaller slights in boardrooms, crushed competitors with a smile. This was personal. Family. The betrayal cut deepest because I'd built it all for them. Sacrifice nights for deals. Weekends for PDA bake sales. Lydia Hale. The unbreakable. Until they broke me. Week 1 blurred into strategy. I shadowed Mark to his office, posing as a surprise lunch, memorizing his routines. He worked late. Always. Excuses piling up. One evening, tailing him in my Tesla, black, anonymous, I watched him slip into a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen. Through the grimy window, he handed an envelope to a burly guy with tattoos snaking up his neck. The bookie. I snapped photos, heart racing like a getaway driver. Back home, Sarah was on her phone, scrolling influencers in bikinis. Mom, can we talk about college? Dad says maybe Europe instead of Yale. I paused, fork midway to my mouth. In the old life, that was code for let's liquidate assets. Now, Europe sounds fun. But let's focus on what's best for you. Not a vacation. Her eyes narrowed. Just a flicker. Whatever. You're always so practical. Practical. That's what they'd called it when they pinned the overdose on my stress. Autopsy report. Barbiturates in my system. Staged as despair. The necklace? The last piece sold to fund their fresh start in Spain. I excused myself early, retreating to my office. Jenna's report landed. Harlan's firm had irregularities, shell companies. Laundered funds. Mark was neck-deep. I forwarded it to an old law school buddy at the SEC. Anonymous tip. Insider trading at Preston and Hale. The first crack appeared Friday. Mark came home rattled. Ty askew. Rough day. Clients auditing us. Ah. Babe. I cooed, rubbing his shoulders. You'll fix it. You always do. He relaxed under my touch. Oblivious. That night, as he showered, I rifled his briefcase, burner phone, scribbled IOUs totaling $800,000. I pocketed a post-it with the bookie's number, then replaced it perfectly. Sarah, meanwhile, was testing boundaries. She borrowed my Amex for a spa day, $500 on facials and tips. In the past, I'd let slide. Now, I froze the card remotely. Texted her, "We need to talk about responsibility." Her reply, "OMG, Mom. It's just money. Chill. Chill." The word echoed her beachside shrug. I met her eyes over breakfast the next day. Money's earned. Sarah. Not stolen. She rolled her eyes. But there was a pause, a glitch in the script. Good. Doubt was my weapon. By month's end, the pressure mounted. Mark's audits turned to investigations, whispers of subpoenas. He doubled down, cozying up to me in bed, sex laced with desperation. You're my rock. LYD. I played along, gathering more dirt, voice memos of him berating Harlan, pleading for time. Sarah started skipping debate practice, hanging with sketchy friends, the same crew she'd pawned the necklace to. I installed tracking on her phone, watched her sneak texts. Dad says wait for the insurance. Then we're golden. Golden. My blood ran cold. They were accelerating the timeline. I needed allies. Enter Tom Riley, my ex from college, now a PI in Queens. We'd parted amicably. He owed me for bailing him out of a bad investment once. Coffee at a midtown diner. Nondescript. Tail mark. Discreet. And check Sarah's socials for anything. Off. Tom's eyes crinkled. You okay, Lydia? This ain't your style. Never better, I lied. Stirring sugar I didn't need. Style? My old style got me killed. This was survival. American dream twisted into nightmare fuel. Tom's first report hit a week later. Mark meeting the bookie again. This time in a parking garage. Shaky video showed cash changing hands. Mark's voice tinny. After the payout. You're paid in full. Payout. My death. I forwarded it to the DA's tip line. Scrubbed clean. Then. Controversial move 1. I dipped into company funds. Not much. $10,000 to hire a forger. Fake emails from Mark to the bookie, promising the hit for a cut. Planted on his laptop during a romantic weekend getaway, I suggested. He'd think it was his own carelessness. The weekend was hellish bliss. Hampton's rental. Lobster rolls on the beach. Mark loosening up with Rose. That night. Buzzed. He passed out. I synced his phone to mine. Uploaded the forgeries. By morning, he was hungover. None the wiser. Back in the city, the noose tightened. Sarah confronted me over dinner. Why'd you tell my counselor about issues? I'm fine. You're sneaking out. Grade slipping. I'm worried. Honey. Worried? Or controlling? She slammed her fork down. Tears welling, real ones. Maybe. In the old life, I'd hugged her. Smoothed it over. Now. I held firm. Actions have consequences. Sarah. Learn that now. Mark jumped in. Ever the peacemaker. Let's not fight. Family first. Family. The word was acid. That night, sirens wailed outside, another false alarm in the city that never sleeps. But for me, the real storm was brewing. I'd exposed the first layer. The SEC raided Harlan's office Monday. Mark came home ashen, pacing. They're coming for me. LYD. I might have to come clean. About what? I asked, feigning shock. He hesitated, then spilled a sanitized version. No murder plot. Debts. Yes. Embezzlement. Skimmed. But I'll fix it. For us. Us. Not me. I nodded. Sympathetic. While inside, I plotted the kill shot. The raid hit like a thunderclap, but it was just the appetizer. Mark spent the next week in damage control mode, lawyering up with cronies who billed by the hour, while Sarah spiraled, grounded, phone confiscated, her friends ghosting her DMs. I watched it all from the wings. The puppeteer in yoga pants, serving kale smoothies and empathy in equal measure. You think this is karma? Mark muttered one evening, scotch in hand, staring at the skyline from our terrace. The air was crisp, fall creeping in, leaves turning gold like the noose around his neck. Karma's for believers, I said, slipping beside him, my arm brushing his. We fight. Together. Lies. Sweet as the Merlot we shared. But his gratitude was useful. He let slip more names. Dates. The bookie's real alias. Vinny the Fist Russo. Tom's next drop was gold. Photos of Mark and Vinny in a diner booth. heads bent over napkins scrawled with figures. Audio snippet. The wife's policy drops soon. Clean hit. No traces. My hit. Played on loop in my headphones during runs along the reservoir. Fueling the fire. Sarah was cracking too. She cornered me in the kitchen one afternoon. Mascara streaked. Is Dad going to jail? Are we losing everything? I set down the knife I was using to chop onions, metaphorically apt, and pulled her into a hug. Her body stiffened, then sagged. We'll be okay, I whispered. But secrets eat families alive.
Sarah.
Whatever you know. Tell me. She pulled back, eyes searching mine. It's nothing.
Just.
Dad stressed. He said you wouldn't understand. Understand? I'd funded her private school. Her horseback riding. Her study abroad that was really a rumspringa in Miami. And for what?
A shrug and a selfie.
Try me, I pressed.
A beat.
Then, whisper, he borrowed the necklace once. For business. Said it was coming back. The necklace. First mention. In the old timeline, that borrow became permanent after my death. I nodded. Neutral. And he sold it?
No.
Wait, pawned? I don't know.
Mom.
He made it sound temporary. Temporary. Like my life. I filed it away. Planted a seed. If it's gone, we can trace it. Insurance might cover. Her relief was palpable. Progress. But trust? Miles off. My own moves escalated. Controversial decision, too. I reached out to Vinny directly. Burner phone. Voice modulated via app. Mark Hale's wife here. I know about the debt.
Meet me.
Neutral ground. His laugh was gravel. Lady, you're playing with fire. Extinguish it. Or I light the match. I named a cafe in Tribeca. Noon Thursday. I arrived early. Wired, Tom's handiwork. Recording every word. Vinny was a slab of a man. Pinky ring glinting like a warning. What's this? Wifey, come to beg. Negotiate, I said, sliding a briefcase across. $20,000 in unmarked bills. Courtesy of a discreet ATM run. This covers interest. Principal after the insurance clears, legally. He eyed the cash. Suspicious. Hale's plannin' something fancy. Hit on you. Bluff or truth. My pulse spiked. Change of plans. He's out. I'm in charge now. Vinny leaned back.
Smirking.
Ballsy. But I like cash. Deal for now. I walked out lighter. The wire feeding straight to Tom, who'd loop it to NYPD Vice. Extortion evidence. Gift wrapped. Mark noticed the shift. You seem energized. Work picking up. Lydia Techa's launching version 2.0. I lied smoothly. Truth. I'd buried kill switches in the app's code. Ready to expose user data if Mark's firm crossed me. Ethical gray zone? Damn right. But betrayal wasn't polite. Sarah's rebellion peaked that weekend. She snuck out. Tracked to a warehouse party in Bushwick, rave lights. Bass thumping like a migraine. I followed, blending in a hoodie, watching from shadows as she popped a pill, danced with boys who looked like trouble. In the old life, I'd bailed her out of juvie for less.
Now.
I snapped pics. Sent anonymous to the school. Student at risk. Monday. Suspension. She stormed home. backpack flying. You ratted me out. Who else knew? Worried friends, I said calmly.
Sit.
Talk. Tears again. Dad said, if we just wait, things would fix. The money from, you know, insurance. I probed. Gentle. She nodded. Crumbling. He didn't mean. It's not like that. He loves you. Loves. Present tense. The twist of the knife. Then why the secrets? He's scared. Of losing us. The necklace was just collateral. Collateral. Like me. I hugged her then, real this time, inhaling her shampoo vanilla. Like mine. For a second, I wavered. Was she redeemable? The golden girl, manipulated by a snake of a father? But no, the beach posts, the shrug. Complicit. Help me fix it, I murmured. Tell me everything. Hesitation. Then fragments. Late night calls. Dad's business trips. A pawnbroker in Queens. The necklace's trail. Bingo. I fed it to Tom. Trace the pawn. By Friday. Report. Sold to a collector in Soho for $50,000. Fence through a gallery. Buyer? Anonymous. But IP traced to our home network. Sarah's laptop. Confrontation loomed, but I timed it. Mark's firm suspended him pending investigation, my SEC tip looming. He came home defeated, collapsing on the couch. It's over. LYD. They've got emails. Wires. I sat beside him, hand on his knee, the same knee he'd touched under the table months ago. What emails? Forged? No. Mine. God. I must have been hacked. Panic edged his voice. Hacked. By his wife. I feigned horror. We'll fight. Lawyer up, but inside. Triumph sang. He slept with pills that night. I slipped a tracker in his shoe. Sarah's turn came Sunday. Church, our family tradition. St. Bart's on Park Avenue. Stained glass and hypocrisy. Post-service brunch at Le Pain Quotidien. Avocado toast and tension.
Mom. I
sold it, she blurted, fork trembling. The necklace. Dad needed cash quick. For the trip, our trip. He said it was insured. You'd never know. The hook. Trip? Ibiza. After. Everything. A fresh start, he called it. I sold Mom's necklace. So what? It's just a thing. Her words, verbatim from the future, echoed in my skull like a gunshot. I stared, the world narrowing to her defiant chin, the exact tilt sheeted poolside, champagne flute in hand. Just a thing. I echoed. Voice steel. That was Grandma's. Passed down since 1620. Our history, she flushed. History doesn't pay bills. Dad said. Dad lies. The words hung, controversial as hell, tearing down the patriarch in public. Whispers from nearby tables. But necessary. Her face crumpled. What do you mean? I leaned in.
Low.
He's planning to kill me.
Sarah.
For the insurance.
And you?
You're his getaway fund. Denial. Then sobs.
No.
He wouldn't, but doubt seated. I paid the bill. Drove home in silence. That night, she knocked on my door. I recorded him.
Once.
On my phone. Show me. Shaky audio. Mark to Vinny. Double the cud if it's clean. The kid's on board for the sale. The kid. My daughter. Rage and grief warred. But revenge clarified. Expose them both. Let justice chew.
Or.
Mercy for her? No time. Monday. Feds knocked. Mark arrested for fraud. Vinny too, my wire the linchpin. He begged as cuffs clicked. Almighty. It was for us. The debts. Us ended when you chose the knife. I whispered. Door closing on his screams. Sarah watched from the stairs.
Pale. Mom.
I didn't know. Liar. But her eyes, my eyes, pleaded. With Mark in cuffs. The brownstone felt hollow. Echoes bouncing off marble counters like accusations. Reporters camped outside by noon. Vans idling like vultures. Tech mogul's husband busted in embezzlement scandal. I faced them solo. Poised in a sheath dress. No comment but a tight smile.
Inside.
The gears ground. Phase 2. The daughter. Sarah barricaded in her room. Blasting Taylor Swift, ironic. The bad blood, tracks hitting harder now. I gave her space. 24 hours. Then breached with tea and truth. We need to talk. Really talk. She cracked the door. Red-eyed. About how I helped kill you. Or just the necklace.
Ouch. Direct.
I stepped in. Surveyed the chaos. Posters curling at edges. Suitcase half-packed for that phantom trip. Both. All of it. She spilled then. Floodgates open. Mark's grooming. You're the smart one.
Sar.
Mom's too soft. She'd forgive anything. The first favor, falsifying my signature on a $100,000 withdrawal. Thrill of the illicit. Then addiction. The necklace? Her idea. Half joking. Until Mark ran with it. He said it was temporary. Like you'd. Go away. But not forever. Go away. Euphemism for murder. I swallowed bile. You believed him? Half. But the money. Freedom. From you hovering. Dad pushing.
Ah.
The teen angst amplified. Resentment for my helicopter ways. The curfews. The what will you do with your life talks. In America's pressure cooker. Where kids crack under Instagram perfection. She'd chosen escape over ethics. Controversial decision 3. I didn't call the cops on her. Not yet. Instead, I proposed a deal. Help me bury him deeper. Testify. The necklace back. And maybe. Redemption. Her laugh bitter. Redemption? I'm a monster. We all are.
Sweetie.
But monsters can change. Therapy speak. Pulled from self-help books I'd skimmed post-Yale. Truth. I needed her leverage against Mark's lawyers. Who'd spin her as victim. She agreed.
Tentative.
We met Tom in a neutral spot, a playground in Brooklyn. Ironic for our wreckage. Sarah handed over her phone. Deleted texts recovered. Showing her haggling with the pawnbroker. $50K wired to my Venmo. For the trip fund. Tom whistled. This sticks. DL of it. Back home. I traced the buyer. Soho Gallery. Owner a sleaze named Duval. Art washer for the mob. Call from a proxy number. The sapphire pendant. From the Hale estate. Return it. Or IRS audit finds your donations fishy. Bluff. But Duval bit. Midnight drop in an alley off Canal Street. Necklace in a velvet pouch. My heartbeat syncopated with distant sirens. I clasped it on, sapphire cold as vindication. Sarah saw it next morning. You got it back. Our legacy, I said. Don't squander yours. The trial prep ramped tension to fever pitch. Mark's arraignment. Fraud. Extortion. Conspiracy to murder. He pled not guilty, eyes locking on mine across the courtroom, pleading, then hardening to hate. Sarah's immunity deal hinged on her flipping. She practiced testimony in our living room, voice quavering. You destroyed us, he snarled at a jail visit I orchestrated, for the record. Plexiglass between. His face gaunt.
No. Mark.
You did. With your greed. Your lies. I slid a photo across, him and Vinny. Time-stamped. Smile for the jury. His snarl. The bitch daughter sold out too. For what? Mommy's approval. Better than daddy's noose. Vinny rolled first, ratting on Mark for a plea. Details poured. The $200,000 hit fee. The suicide kit sourced from a pharmacy contact. Sarah's role. Look out for the pawnbroker meet. Wired $10,000 of the proceeds to an offshore account, hers. Public backlash hit like a wave. Tabloids feasted. Heiress daughter's betrayal. Sold mom's treasures for party paradise? Sarah's school expelled her. Friends unfriended en masse. She holed up, skipping meals, while I fielded calls from board members at Lydia Tech, damage control, stock dips. Controversial decision 4. I leaked select docs to TMZ. Not all, enough to tank Mark's bail. Paint Sarah as misguided, not malicious.
Why?
Leverage. The public outcry pressured the DA for max sentences, but also pity for her. Twisted maternal instinct. Or strategy.
Both.
You're protecting me, Sarah said one night. Pizza boxes strewn like battlefield debris.
Why?
Because I see me in you. The ambition. The fire. Don't let it burn you out. She nodded. Tentative bond forming. But trust fractured easy. I caught her texting an old friend, the pawnbroker's nephew. Deleted history. But I'd installed spyware. Paranoia. Or prudence. The necklace became talisman. I wore it daily. Sapphire winking under conference lights as I keynote at TechCrunch Disrupt. Standing ovation. Despite the scandal whispers. Resilience isn't bouncing back, I told the crowd. It's rewriting the story. Applause thundered. Inside. I applauded the climax. Mark's trial date loomed. December 15th, 6 months post-rebirth. Full circle to Winter's bite. Pre-trial motions, his team motioned to suppress the forgeries. I testified. Cool under cross. My husband's carelessness. Your Honor. He left his laptop open. Sustained. His glare could have melted steel. Sarah's turn gutted me. On stand. She broke. I thought it was a game. Dad said Mom was replaceable. The money for Ibiza was my escape from everything. Sobs echoed. Jury teared up. Mark's lawyers pounced. You resented your mother's success? Yes, whisper. She had it all. We had scraps.
Scraps.
The hidden secret unveiled. Not just debt, but envy. Mark's stalled career. Sarah's overshadowed shadow. My success? Their poison. I testified last. Necklace gleaming. They planned my death over coffee one morning. I know because I lived it. Slip, too close to truth. Jury leaned in, but judge sustained objection. Still, the seed planted. Intuition? Or something more? Closing arguments. DA painted Mark as monster. Sarah as pawn. Defense. Desperate family. Tragic mistakes. But the evidence, wires. Audio. Pawn slips crushed. Verdict watch. Snow fell on Manhattan. Blanketing sins. Sarah and I hold up. TV muted. Gin and tonics in hand. What if they acquit? She asked. They won't. Confidence. Or hubris.
Guilty.
Mark. Life plus 25. Vinny.
20.
Sarah. Probation. Community service, my leaks softening the blow. Courtroom chaos. Mark lunged at me. Bailiffs tackling. You witch. How'd you know? Call it a sixth sense, I said, turning away. Outside. Flashes popped. Sarah clung to my arm. It's over? Not yet. Freedom tasted like fresh snow, clean,
Deceptive.
with Mark caged in Sing Sing. The brownstone rehabbed into sanctuary. Security system upgraded. Therapy sessions booked. Sarah enrolled in online GED prep. Reporters dwindled. Scandal fading to footnote. Lydia tech stock rebounded. I keynote Davos. Sapphire at my throat. Whispers of comeback queen. But revenge's afterglow soured quick. Sarah withdrew. Shadows under her eyes like bruises. I see his face every night, she confessed in session joint. My insistence. The way he looked at me on the stand. Like I was nothing. You were everything to him, I said. Therapist nodding. That's the poison. Healing? Surface. Deep down. Fissures ran. She'd sneak glances at my phone. Accuse me of spying still. Fair, I had. Old habits. Second life paranoia. Controversial decision 5. I faked a breakdown. Leaked diary entries to a friendly journo. Rants about visions of my death. Premonitions that saved me. Clickbait gold. Did Lydia Hale predict her own murder? It humanized me. Vilified them further. But cost, psych eval mandated by the board. Stress leave, they urged. I took it. Turned it to advantage. Road trip. Sarah's shotgun in the Tesla. Route 66 Redux, Chicago Blues. Grand Canyon sunsets. Bonding. Or interrogation. Mid-Oklahoma. Dust devils swirling. She cracked wider. The trip. Ibiza. It wasn't just escape. Dad promised it after. After you were gone. Said we'd start a business. Hale and Hale Imports. Imports. Code for laundering? I gripped the wheel. And the necklace? Seed money. He appraised it at pawn, $50K easy. Mom's trinkets fund our empire. Her voice small. I wanted to believe. Empire. The secret's core. Not debt alone, but delusion. Mark's grand scheme. Post-murder, flee to Europe. Flip the cash into legit ventures. Sarah, the heir apparent, groomed as Maul. We detoured to a motel. Neon buzzing. Over diner fries. I pushed. Any more lies? She met my eyes green mirrors.
1.
The pills at the party? Not mine. Dad's stash.
4. You.
The overdose plan. Chill wind. I'd suspected. But hearing it. You kept that.
Scared.
He said if I talked, we'd both go down.
Complicit to the marrow.
Rage flickered. But I banked it. We're down together now. Rebuild.
Nod.
Fragile truce. Back east. Twist brewed. Anonymous email. Knew about the plan. Have proof. Meet or it goes public. Attachment. Blurry photo. Me in the alley with Duval.
Timestamped.
Blackmail. Who? Mark's lawyer? Vinny's crew? I traced IP. Burner.
But bounced to.
Sarah's old phone. The one I'd confiscated. Confrontation. Dawn kitchen. Explain. Her face ashen. Mom.
I.
After trial. I called the pawnbroker. Foreclosure. He must have. Liar. I played the log. Texts to Uncle P. Post-arrest. Tell Dad I'm sorry. Get me out. Betrayal redux. You sold me out again?
Tears. No. Just.
Scared you'd abandon me too. Abandon. The cycle. Fear birthing monsters. Controversial. I didn't rage. Instead. Prove loyalty. Help catch the leak.
She did.
Bait email sent from her account. Reply. Meet Central Park. Bethesda Fountain.
Dusk.
Trap set. Tom shadowed. NYPD looped my call. Risky. Dusk fell. Tourists milling. Figure approached. Hooded.
Slight.
Not the brute I expected.
Sarah.
No, wait. The hood dropped. Harlan. The lawyer. Gaunt post-raid. You. I stepped forward. Tom's hand on my shoulder. Mark's orders. From inside. Finish the job. Harlan's voice cracked. Gun glinting small.
Panicked.
Chaos. Sarah screamed from bushes. Back up. Tom tackled. Shot cracked. Grazed my arm. Blood hot. Harlan down.
Cuffed.
Interrogation. Mark's prison puppet. Promised cut of residuals. My ongoing royalties. Funneled post-murder. Harlan cracked. He knew. About the forgeries. Hacked your cloud somehow. Said you were witchy. Witchy. Close to truth. Twist. Mark's final play. Sensing my edge. But failed. Hospital stitch up. Sarah vigil. I set the meat to protect you, she whispered. Truth?
Or spin.
I squeezed her hand. We survived together. Outpatient. Media frenzy reignited. Second attempt on Tech Titan's life. Stock soared. Book deals poured in. But the real climax. Visiting Mark. Sing Sing. Sterile visitation room. He looked broken, orange jumpsuit. Tattoos peeking from cuffs. Irony. You sent Harlan, I said. No preamble.
Grin.
Wolfish. Had to try.
You.
You knew too much. Like you saw it coming. Maybe I did. Slip again. His eyes narrowed.
Bullshit. But.
The girl? She sang pretty in court. My own blood. She chose light. Lie, shadows lingered.
He leaned in. Tell her.
Daddy's proud. And the necklace?
Keep it.
Souvenir.
Chill.
I rose. Wrought well. Mark. Outside. Snow swirled. Sarah waited. Bundled. What did he say? Nothing worth repeating. But inside, the twist nod. How'd he hack my cloud? Pre-death access?
Or.
Impossible. Unless my rebirth left digital ghosts. Home. I scrubbed systems, but unease festered. Sarah's therapy deepened. Mine too, solo. Unpacking the rage. You saved yourself, Doc said. Not revenge. Reclamation. Maybe. Spring bloomed.
Tentative.
Sarah aced GED. Internship at Lydia Tech, entry level. Earned. We hosted Passover Seder. Small, Jenna.
Tom.
No ghosts. But tension simmered. Late night call. Sarah's voice.
Slurred. Mom, I.
Met someone.
He knows about.
Everything. Who? The nephew? I traced. Burner again. Come home.
Now.
She did. Dawn stumbling. Just a friend. From the old crew. End it. Ultimatum. Controversial. Controlling mom redux. Fight exploded. You don't trust me. After all this. Trust earned.
Sarah.
Like before. Slammed door. Silence, stretched days. Then. Note on kitchen island. Gone to think.
Love. S. P.S.
The necklace. Yours forever.
Gone.
Heart seized. Tracked phone airport. Ibiza flight.
No.
The cycle. Panic clawed. But I breathed. Not the old script. Tesla keys. Airport dash, JFK. Terminal swarm. PA drone flights. I scanned gates. Sapphire heavy. Found her. Gate C12. Backpack slumped. Eyes distant. Sarah.
Whirl.
Mom? How? Mother's intuition. Half-truth.
Iset.
Uninvited. Don't.
Why?
Run from the mess I made. Bitterness.
No.
Run to it. I pulled the necklace. Unclasped. This isn't mine anymore. It's yours. But with it. Responsibility. Her fingers trembled. Clasping it. Sapphire caught light. Prism tears. I can't. I'm poison. We all were. Mark's greed. My blindness. Your rebellion. But poison dilutes. Choose different.
Pause.
Eternal. Then.
Nod.
Together. Always. Flight missed. We drove home. Dawn breaking gold. Therapy doubled. Boundaries redrawn, no trackers.
Just talks.
Sarah thrived. Coding bootcamp. App prototype pitched to my board, greenlit. Summer solstice. We beezed, legit. White sands. No shame. She danced. Free, I watched. Sapphire twin on her neck. To new beginnings, toast. But twist lingered. Fall. Package arrived. Unmarked. Postmark Sing Sing. Inside. Letter. Mark scrawl. LYD. Knew you were special. The hacks. Your old passwords. Recycled. But the timing.
Eerie.
If you're reading this, Harlan failed. Tell Sarah, Daddy loves her. And the real secret? The debts weren't mine.
Yours.
Lydia Tech slush fund. Off books. Check the Cayman's account 47291. For the family, you started it all. Lies or truth? Heart stuttered. I logged in, burner laptop. VPN maze. Account, $1.2 million. Transfers dated Prairie Birth. My signature. Digital. Forged? No, my own sloppiness. Creative accounting to dodge taxes. Hidden from Mark till he found it. The irony. My mistake birthed his monster. Betrayal mutual. Cycle self-made. I deleted it all. Wired clean to charity, women's shelters, anti-domestic violence. No traces. Sarah never knew. Why burden? She graduated boot camp, co-founded sub-app under Lydia Tech, Second Chance, therapy matcher for trauma survivors. TEDx talk. Standing O.
Me?
Stepped back. Board chair emerita. Wrote the book, not memoir. Fiction. Rewind. Ghost story of a woman who dies. Returns. Unravels her world. Bestseller. Controversies. Autobiographical. Denials.
Winks.
Ending. No tidy bow. Mark died in prison heart attack. 2028. Sarah visited once. Alone. Forgive. His nod. Final.
She wore the sapphire.
Returned changed stronger. We're close. Fractured but fused. Manhattan hums. I run the park. Necklace retired and safe. Rebirth's gift, not perfection, but presence. Sometimes, coffee steam rises, and I wonder, was it real? Or dream of a dying mind? Doesn't matter. I lived twice. And that's the ultimate revenge. The end? Open road. American as apple pie and second acts.
Drive on.